Hey folks, Crazy Clown Radio here again. Yeah, it's time we're going to look at game number 18 on our 20 from 1995 series. This is part of the Space Invaders series. So, this is a pretty good game. This is my favorite in the series. This is called Space Invaders 95, The Attack of Lunar Loonies. This was released on the Taito F3 system. This is, I believe it's like the 6th game in the series. There was Space Invaders 1, Space Invaders Part 2, Return of the Invaders, Space Invaders 4 or Majestic 12 or Space Invaders 91, which was actually released in 1990, I believe, and Space Invaders DX. So yeah, this is the 6th game, and you can pick from 10 different characters. One of 10 different characters, or you can play 2 players simultaneous play, as you see right here. I love this game. It's just so bright and colorful and very silly, and it has very obvious nods to at least the first Space Invaders game. And we'll actually see some of the original invaders make appearances. Each character can have a charged shot. You can hold down the fire button for a little while and you'll see the bottom left, or if you're player 2, bottom right meter start to fill up. And there's some very silly sound effects in this game. As in previous Space Invader games, you are automatically dead when you get hit. You lose a life. You cannot get an extra life in this game as far as I know. Now you can pick from 5 different characters from the player 1 button and 5 different characters from the player 2 button. And we'll see them all at some point in this game. And we're going to get started. And you can pick from very interesting different ships. This is like a city gate, I think, that you can select as. And there are a couple characters that can fly the ship from the Darius series. And the pilot of this ship is Pocky from the game Pocky and Rocky. And her name is Sayo-chan, or Sayo-chan. She's a priestess. There are a total of, I think it was 35 different stages. And the behaviors of the aliens from stage to stage are very different. And there will be a UFO that flies over the top. And when you shoot it, it can drop certain power-ups. And sometimes it'll be a random one when it has a question mark. And one of the power-ups is a bowling ball, or a giant black ball that you can roll at your opponents. And you might be able to take out a whole column of enemies, depending how weak they are. And kind of like in Space Invaders Part 2, you can have some enemies that split into 2 when you shoot them. just like the very fantastical, cutesy look of the characters in this game. It just really appeals to me. I've always kind of been a sucker for cutesy anime. I've tried to draw my own in that style with varying degrees of success. One of the power-ups that you can get is sometimes the UFO itself, when shot, will drop down, and when you shoot it again, it will explode, and the radius of the explosion can take out multiple invaders. And there will be some bonus stages where you can try to take out all the enemies. There's not a big fanfare or anything if you take them all out, but you do get like a perfect bonus of 10,000 at least for the first bonus stage, and then it increases by another 10,000 for each subsequent one that you get a perfect on. And this is the first boss, and yes, there will be boss fights. Now, if you allow enemies to reach the bottom of the screen, get past you, it is not game over automatically like in a number of previous Space Invaders games. And this boss will not get to the bottom of the screen. You will get a warning, fortunately, if an enemy is about to reach the bottom. You will see a level appear right at the bottom, a line, and that will tell you that enemies are just about to reach the bottom. You will simply lose a life, or at worst, you will have to restart the stage over, and that won't happen during the boss. We'll look at a little bit of that later on. I like the theme of each round, and each round contains several stages. The first round has a space carrier theme, and the second round has a gourmet star theme, and you see all kinds of food aliens. Some of the behaviors of the enemies are interesting. They might jump around, or they might spin around or something. They might try to avoid your shots. And you may have noticed that there are bunkers that you can hide behind or let the enemy shots get absorbed. There is also a time stop power-up from the UFO. You can stop the enemies for a short while. Sometimes there will be enemies in between, kind of in between stages. And they might be able to shoot you, so watch out. Any shot by the enemy, except for the giant bowling balls that first boss throws at you, can be cancelled out by your shots in midair. One other final power-up that the UFO can drop is extra shots that you can have on the screen, and your charge meter will be replaced by an ammunition meter, and you will have a limited amount of shots of those extra shots to be able to fire. And once that meter is empty, then you're back to your regular, I think, double shots at maximum on the screen at once. I never did see this in arcades. Whoops. Yeah, some of the enemy, excuse me, some of the enemy shots can be like diagonal and be hard to avoid, especially later on in the game when they really fill up the screen. Now, if you use your charged shots, you might be able to take out a bunch of enemies in one column at once, or you might be able to make a large explosion radius that can take out other nearby enemies. The bunkers, I think, can be restored after X amount of stages. I don't remember for sure. And here's another bonus stage with chickens. And they form the letters of the word bonus. And you can get bonus points for clearing out a whole group of the enemies, like the ones here, the chickens here that form a letter. If you take them all out, you get some bonus points, like 2,000 points or something. And we are approaching the second boss. Yeah, there are a total of 5 rounds with multiple stages in each round. And the final boss in the entire game will be a giant space invader from, the classic game from 1978, the original. And this is like a giant fish, and it's a giant shrimp. It's got a fried shrimp backside on it. Very silly game. I just love the cartoony anime-styled graphics. And whoops, I had an enemy get near the bottom. Yeah, even during the boss fights, whoops, I got shot down. Even during the boss fights, there can be enemies that are spawned that can try to reach the bottom of the screen and get past you and force you to lose a life. I did not see this back in the day in arcades. This was on the Taito F3 system hardware. Excuse me, and I think a number of games on that hardware did not really see much appearance in US arcades. Elevator Action Returns might have been one of the F3 system hardware games. So I first got exposure of this early on in MAME when I started using that as my first arcade emulator. And here's the continue screen, and what was her name? Sayo-chan, or Pocky, lost her last life. You cannot get extra lives in this game. I don't think that the UFO can drop extra 1-ups, and you can't get any 1-ups at certain point intervals or point scores. I will put in my initials for getting first place, and obviously it's easy to do because there's no point values on the high score list. We will look at the other characters that you can choose from after pressing the player 1 button. This stage is interesting. I like the holes the enemies jump in. They try to get closer to you. Of course, like in previous Space Invaders games, when you're down to the last few invaders or so, they really start to speed up. Here we have some sandbars as the bunkers. And I think in the following stage there are trees that cannot be destroyed, and those are your bunkers. If you've played early Space Invaders games... Oh, that was close. And you've really honed your ability to strafe. It is super useful in this game as well. You know, hide behind a bunker and peek out and try to keep your shots ahead of the columns of enemies as they move from one direction to the other, or just stay just ahead of them as you fire. Very useful in this game as well. Just love the exotic locations. We're at the beach now, and eventually we'll be flying over the water. Like I said, usually if there's a number of enemies left and one of them gets below you, then you'll just lose a life. But I think if you have to continue, or if there was like just one last enemy that got past you, then you will have to restart the stage. But you won't get an automatic game over like the original Space Invaders. Now the characters, there is Dan, just a human kid that flies the Take-1. There is Ben, who is a blue pile of poop on like a space rocket, and he flies the Toilet 1. And there is a dog named Harry, and he flies the Bucket 1, and it is a trash can. There is Cried, and I think it's supposed to say Clyde, English. And he flies a Silverhawk 1, which is a ship from the Darius series, which is a number of shoot 'em ups by Taito. Some of the characters have some very nice charged shots that give them an advantage over other characters, I believe. And the charged shot you might be able to guide it after you fire it, or it might break off and scatter and hit other enemies or something. Gotta watch out for the missiles that these parachuters are dropping. Oops. And you'll get this little look at at your protagonist having been blown up after they lose their last life. And then you're prompted with the continue screen. But then there is Sayo-chan, also known as Pocky, from the Pocky and Rocky series of games. She is a priestess, and she flies the Gate Amulet 1, or the Amulet 1, which looks like a city gate. And then if you press the 2-up start button, or 2-player start button, you can choose Mayumi, who flies the Teke 2. And there are kind of clones of the first player ships, or they're similar. And then there is a Toilet 2 flown by Pen, who is a pink piece of poop, and it is an actual toilet. And there is Nancy, who is a cat that flies a Corrugated Carton 2, which is a box, and it is a cat in a box. And then there is the Silverhawk 2, piloted by Bonnie. There is Bonnie and Cried. Again, English. And I like this boss, which is a girl lobster in a shell. And I like the alien that smacks the shell on the head to get her to come out and attack you. Very funny. I've always liked this game quite a bit. Yeah, Bonnie also flies like Cried does a Silverhawk, which is a spaceship from the Darius series of games. And then there is an Amulet 2 flown by Neo-chan. And I don't know if all the characters are cameos from other Taito games, but I know of some of them at least. But yeah, we're going to look at all the characters that you can choose from Player 1, and we'll also get to the characters from Player 2, from pressing the Player 2 button. Sounds like we're getting maybe a little bit better weather on the way. I was just able to finish doing all the painting. Well, almost all the painting. The rest of it can wait a little bit. Got all the rest of the fence painted. Did the trim around my new garage door. Things look pretty nice right now. Also, speaking of nice, we might have a lot new employees at work, making my job just a little bit easier, which I could definitely use. And in this third round of stages, we have, fourth round, excuse me, we have killer furniture, possessed furniture flying at you. Gets to be a lot of furniture filling the screen. Very hard to avoid. The fifth round has, it's back in space. But right now we're seeing the dog. Oh, brother. Got really tough right there, but fortunately I was able to finish that stage just in time. And the dog flew the Bucket 1, which is a trash can, and the dog's name is Harry. The dog and the cat cannot speak human. they just go arf or woof or, you know, whatever. Or meow or some variant. Excuse me. I was also able to get some weeding done over the weekend. I don't really speak Japanese well enough to tell you what they say. If you do a charged shot, remember that any bullets that the enemy fires down at you will cancel it out. Well, maybe it can go through like a couple really weak shots. Note that there's like tiny circular bullets, or there's different colored lasers that the enemy may fire. Yeah, I was pretty surprised when I first played this and noticed that there's a couple pieces of poop that you can play as. Oh, those silly Japanese. Yeah, generally for me in the Space Invaders series, I was kind of annoyed by the bunkers more than grateful for them. But if you can learn to strafe from under them, then they're nice to have. And at one point I put on invincibility just so that I could finish the game quicker. Note that the fire enemies, their shots, when they drop them down, they burn when they're on the ground for a very short time. So don't run into that fire or you'll lose a life. We have ghosts here, and then on and there's the clock to stop the time for a short while. On the next stage, I believe there are like baby ghosts. Not all the enemies will go in the same pattern as the usual Space Invaders from the first game. Sometimes they'll just change direction part way, or they'll hop around and stuff. Oops. Yeah, the Space Invaders series really got back into gamers' consciences with the Space Invaders 91 or whatever entry, Space Invaders 4 or Majestic 12, and that was fun. I did like that one, but this one really just kind of struck a chord for me. I really like this one. Like I said, there's no special fanfare for beating the bonus stage. It just gives you like a bonus of like 10,000 for getting perfect on the first bonus stage, 20,000 for perfect on the next one, 30,000 for perfect for the next one, etc., etc. Here's a ghost being surrounded by a bunch of protective enemies, form a shield, sort of. It's a lot of bullets to have to avoid on the screen at once. But yeah, just remember that just about every single projectile by the enemies or bosses can be cancelled out by your shots. Except for, like I said, those giant bowling balls or whatever they are that the first boss rolls at you. The music is funny, the characters are funny. Weave back and forth, follow the movements of this boss while shooting like crazy in order to keep hitting him. Yeah, like that. And then he turns into this character that tries to make a mad dash at you. Want to destroy him before he gets to the bottom. Just Just got him in time. And here is the final round. Mother Star. And we see the UFOs that normally drop power-ups for you. And there's another UFO way up there, or a UFO. When it has a question mark on it, it'll just drop one of a random selection of one of the power-ups. Sometimes there'll be just a group of enemies that you need to mow down, and even though they're necessary that you have to defeat them all, you'll still get like a special bonus for destroying all of them. I think you have to destroy them all. Maybe if you take too long, the last few will fly off. Maybe. But I got him. I like the little halo that they leave when you destroy them. That was kind of like a mini bonus stage right there. I don't know if you get a special bonus for killing all those enemies. There will be kind of a Bomberman type of enemy coming up soon, I think. And they throw bombs down at you. It looks like they're going to try to get past you, but they just bounce back upwards after throwing a bomb at you. It's not here yet. Yeah, the series had, was it Space Invaders in 1978, Space Invaders Part 2 in 1979, Return of the Invaders, which was like a UPL and Taito co-production in 1985, Space Invaders 4, or Space Invaders 91, or Majestic 12 in, like, I think 1990, was it? Space Invaders Deluxe in 1993, which I'd never seen. I think I played it maybe once in MAME. And Space Invaders 95 in 1995. And there were still some games. Space Invaders Extreme, like somewhere in the 2000s. Space Invaders Extreme 2. Space Invaders Infinity Gene. Oh yeah, here are the Bomberman looking guys. Yeah, they'll jump down close to you and toss a bomb, but then they'll jump back up, so they're not actually quite yet trying to get to the bottom of the screen, because you don't see that line appear, that caution line, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, even the bombs, you can cancel those out with your shots. Yeah, if you shoot the lead in one of those bonus type of stage with a squadron of its own ships trailing behind it, if you shoot the lead, then you might be able to destroy all the other aliens in its formation. And here is the final boss of the entire game, and he's got these arms that can reach out and try to destroy you, and it's got lasers coming from several ports. And it can fire this squiggly laser from the original game, and if you shoot it enough times with your shots, you can destroy it. The aliens themselves are generally really meager points. If you shoot like a whole group of them together, you can get more points. Or if you use like a charged shot to take out a group of them at once or something, you might get more points. The best points are like beating the bonus stages, or destroying a whole group of enemies before I guess they can fly off or something. This game is so cool. It would have been maybe a little cooler if there were more Taito cameos as selectable characters. I still really enjoy this. Which is your favorite entry in the Space Invaders series? And have you played some of the later entries from the 2000s that I mentioned? I've never played those. I was 7 when the original came out in 1978. It was one of the all-time greatest smash hits. You can actually destroy his arms first, I think, before you shoot his body. And that is the end of the game. You can't destroy these ships that fly away. This is just the end of the game here. Very silly game. But that is Space Invaders 95, The Attack of Lunar Loonies. I guess this game is also known as Akanvader, Akkanvader. And after the ending sequence, we will see the player 2 side characters that you can play as. And we see those at the bottom of the screen there. Yeah, there's a cat, there's a fellow priestess that has blonde hair, and there's a girl that looks like Sailor Mercury, and she's the other character, I think, that flies the Teke. And I think Teke is like a Japanese folklore thing about like some just half-bodied creature or something. And there she is. Yeah. But that is Space Invaders 95, also known as Akanvader, created by Taito on their Taito F3 system hardware in 1995. This game is so darn cute. I love it. Put in my initials real quick here. But yeah, you cannot earn extra lives. I don't think that there's like a rare one-up that the UFO can drop, and you certainly can't get any extra lives through your score. But we'll go ahead and look at the 2-player characters that you can choose from. I kind of like how after shooting the first handful of Space Invaders, then it's like, nope, we're not gonna just, we're better than just having black and white graphics. We're gonna have these new colorful characters as invaders. Yeah, it's kind of frustrating sometimes when you're shooting at the UFO and you've shot like an extra shot or two, and you shoot the UFO as it falls a little too early, for the blast radius to take out a bunch of enemies at once. Yeah, I guess early on in the game, the bunkers get restored a lot more often than later on in the game. But yeah, I've never been a huge fan of the bunkers anyway, other than just strafing from under them. But I still like to lead with my shots anyway, so they're, any memories of any of the Space Invaders games that you have? Maybe leave some comments. Where did you see them first in the arcades? I might have seen Space Invaders first at a Farrell's ice cream parlor. It was a huge, massive hit. One of the all-time big arcade smash hits internationally. It caused a yen shortage in Japan, in its native Japan. And it was created by Taito, but got the Midway license in the US. And here's a look at the aliens reaching the bottom. Invade. This is during a boss, so you just lose one life. You don't restart the stage, which is still better than losing all your lives, like in the arcade original. But I just wanted to show the second player characters, what they look like. I like the food round, where the enemies are foods, and the two of the protagonists will say, "I'm hungry." We'll just see a little bit of each of the characters, like charged shots and maybe some power-ups that they've gotten. I think I might have seen the second game, Space Invaders Part 2, at someplace at the Oregon coast, an arcade out there. And the arcade is still there. It's still a very popular tourist spot in Seaside, Oregon. But back in my day, or early in my day, they didn't have very many arcade games. They had a lot of skee-ball. And they had wooden balls, and you get 9 of them for 10 cents. That was pretty darn nice. Yeah, they named this boss the Yamato. Or Yamato. Doesn't really look like it, does it? It's got was it an octopus and a shrimp? It's a silly game. Yeah, using the charged shot on a boss can make that battle much quicker. But again, remember that a big old barrage of enemy shots might cancel out your charged shot. Interesting variation on the classic Thunder and Lightning circus theme. But yeah, we'll just see each character for the second player side. Maybe their quote-unquote death picture there, or defeated picture. The cat just meows. Meow. This is such a cute game. I've always liked this one. I used to own a great video game help book called How to Beat the Video Games by Tom Hirschfield. And it had Space Invaders 1 and 2 in it. I wasn't able to really use the hints very well in arcades to do that great. I was only like 10 or something at the time anyway. But it had some very descriptive hints and very good artwork in it. I got it again on Amazon in recent years. I read that a lot when I was a kid. And I perused like Electronic Gaming Monthly and other such video game magazines. I remember I had like a few of them I took with me on camping trips and Boy Scouts. And that was the last invader, so when it says invade, I have to start the stage over again. But that was Space Invaders 95. the Attack of Lunar Loonies, game number 18 on our 20 from 1995 series. Well, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you join me soon for game number 17. Y'all take it easy, everybody, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.